Hi, this is Paul. I want to make a video about the whole Brian Flores suing the NFL for racial discrimination in their hiring practices. I'm glad that he stuck his neck out, and he is sticking his neck out because it's very possible that he may never get a coaching job again. But again, like I've seen the coverage of this all this week and stuff, and he's suing the Giants specifically because he got a text from Bill Belichick, who thought he was actually texting another Brian. Brian Daboll, I think that's his name, who actually got the Giants job. And I'm a New York Giant fan, so let me say that up front. And he was saying, congratulations on getting the job. I heard you got the job. And, Brian Flores was, again, he was confused about it and said, okay, I think he said, oh, did you hear something? Because I don't interview until Thursday. And then I guess Bill Belichick realized what he did and said, I apologize. I thought, I was texting Daboll. So basically, he found out through that Daboll actually got the job. Now, the general manager that the Giants hired works for the Buffalo Bills, and who obviously worked with Brian Daboll, who was the offensive coach in Buffalo. Okay, so I'll be perfectly honest. I think what happened with the Giants, and I don't care what statement they released and all the itinerary and stuff about the timeline, about when he came to the facility and all that stuff, and the Zoom call that he had, and touring the facilities and stuff, and whoever he met. When they hired that general manager from, I forgot the guy's name, but the guy from Buffalo to be their new general manager, that guy had it in his head. I don't care what anybody says, and he will never be able to convince me otherwise, that he was going to hire the offensive coach from the Buffalo Bills to come to the Giants with him to work with Daniel Jones. I completely believe that. No doubt in my mind that is what happened. And no matter who else he interviewed after that, it was just window dressing and just to fulfill the Rooney Rule. He wasn't going to hire anybody else but Brian Daboll. I think he had that in his head as soon as he got hired, that this is the guy I want to, this is the guy I know, this is the guy I work with, so this is the guy I'm going to hire. I think he had that in his mind from the beginning, and it didn't matter who he interviewed after that. They was doing that just to fulfill the Rooney Rules thing, because the very day that he hired, he interviewed Leslie Frazier, another African-American coach. A couple of hours later after that, he formally announced Brian Daboll. And I definitely think somebody from the Giants, Bill Belichick, who used to work for, used to be a coach under Bill Parcells with the Giants. I think he has a contact in the Giant front office who told him, now listen, this new general manager we hired from Buffalo, he's going to pick Brian Daboll. That's the guy he wants to hire. And this is the guy he's going to hire. And so Bill Belichick probably thought, okay, let me just congratulate this guy. He never knew, privately, because it's a text message. He's not announcing this to the world. He said, and he knows the guy who worked for him. He probably said, hey, listen, I want to congratulate him on getting the Giants job. Okay. But he messed up by texting the wrong Brian. And that's what set Brian Flores off and saying, listen, this job was already, my interview was just a token interview. And so I don't give a crap what they say about, the Giants say about, he was a catalyst until the 11th hour. I don't believe that at all. I think Brian Daboll, the guy from Buffalo, the offensive coach, he was from the beginning. That's who this GM wanted to hire, because he wanted to have him work with Daniel Jones. Okay, and because there's the big issue whether Daniel Jones will, whether they'll continue on with him after this year. So I think that was the plan from the beginning. So I don't give a crap what they say about that, saying that, and as far as Tiki Barber is concerned, I don't give a crap what Tiki Barber says about anything. Okay, his dumb, he left the Giants. Okay, he ran out on the Giants to quit playing for, and left his wife and all that stuff. But that's his personal life, so I don't want to get into that. But he just annoys me with his saying, the Giants. You don't know what's in anybody's heart, so you can just say that's your opinion. Okay, but Tiki Barber really needs to shut his mouth. Okay, I'm sick of him anyway. Okay. But anyway, as far as I'm concerned, now his other allegations were that the Miami Dolphins owner, Stephen Ross, offered him $100,000 a game to lose games because they wanted to get a high draft pick so they could get. That was the draft that Joe Burrow came in. Okay, and obviously they didn't do that because I think they won their last 2 games that season. Okay, so they didn't get to pick Joe Burrow anyway. And then he also said that when Tom Brady was a free agent, he invited him to come on his boat, the coach, before free agency started, to meet Tom Brady, and he said he left because that technically would be tampering, even though teams probably do that anyway and get away with it. But that's what he said, but also they let it out when they fired him, because a lot of people were surprised that he got fired, especially since he won his last 7 games and he had his last 2 seasons with the Dolphins were winning records. They were surprised that he got fired, and then they let it leak that he didn't get along with the general manager, who happens to be black, but he didn't get along with the general manager, and I think they said he had like 4 offensive coaches and quarterback coaches. He's went through a bunch of them. So they kind of put it out there that he was kind of difficult to work with. Okay, so that's another thing. And then the Denver Broncos thing, that he was saying that when he went to interview with John Elway and I think another representative, he said they showed up an hour late to the meeting and they looked disheveled. Okay, and it looked like they were basically hungover from the night before. That's what he said. And now John Elway issued a statement saying that he wasn't hungover. He said that basically they took an overnight flight to get to the meeting, because I think there was only a little tight window that Brian Flores could meet them with, and they said they would, that they looked a little rough. That was because they flew overnight to the meeting and stuff, and they said they took detailed notes and all that stuff. So for full transparency, that was their reply to it, as well as the Giants, putting out their itinerary about what they did when they met with Brian Flores. I think they did a Zoom call first, and then they actually met him. They gave him a tour of the stadium and all that stuff, and met a bunch of people. But again, and then Stephen Ross, of course, he denied that the bribe thing and I think the Tom Brady thing. I think he denied both of those things. But I still think, without a doubt, that the Giants, once they hired that GM from Buffalo, he picked Brian Dabby. That was a guy that he wanted to hire, but because of the Rooney Rule, which a lot of these teams, let's face it, a lot of these teams don't want to follow. They had to play the game and interview these 2 black coaches just to say they did, they fulfilled the Rooney Rule. Okay, but I'll never believe, in no way in the world anybody can convince me, even you, Tiki Barber, that they weren't going to hire Brian Debut. That's who that general manager wanted to hire. Now I know they were saying that John Mara reached out to Brian Flores as soon as, I think the day after he got fired. The day after he got fired from the Dolphins, he reached out to him saying that he wanted to meet him. And maybe John Mara did, the owner, the co-owner, maybe he did want to hire Brian Flores, or wanted him to be one of the candidates and stuff. But I still think that general manager, he had it in his head that this is who he's going to hire, Brian Debby, from the beginning. I think that's what I think it was. And nobody will be able to convince me otherwise, that's not what was going to happen. And like I said, Bill Parcells, somebody in the Giants organization that was a friend of Bill Parcells, not Bill Parcells, excuse me, the coach from the Patriots, Bill Belichick, somebody told him that, this is the guy that is going to get hired. And that's why he was texting the guy to congratulate him, except he texted the wrong person, which probably made Brian Flores furious, which I don't blame him, okay, because basically you went through a sham interview, okay, you weren't getting the job anyway, okay, so, and now they say technically that he's still under consideration for the Texans job and for the job for the New Orleans Saints. Whether he gets that job or not, he said he contacted both of them before he filed a lawsuit to let them know, listen, I'm filing this lawsuit, but I still would like to coach. So he may or may not get those jobs, and he is taking a risk because, let's face it, he can very well get blackballed from the NFL for suing them. Okay, and we'll see how this plays out. But I'm glad that he took a courageous stand on this, because, let's face it, things are not going to change as it currently is. Okay, this, again, perfect example is, look at Jim Caldwell in Detroit. Okay, now he had I think he was there for 4 years. He had 2 winning seasons. No, he had 2 playoff seasons. Okay, and yet when they brought when the GM in from New England, from the Patriots, okay, he only let him go in there. He let him go when he was 9-7, and said, no, we want to be better than that. We want to be better than 9-7. We never beat good teams in this. I thought we need a change because we want to go further. And sure, he hired that dude, Matt Patricia from the Patriots, his boy from the Patriots, and they wound up being where he were. I think he was like 12-39 or something like that, and won some horrible record. And both of them got fired after 3 seasons. Okay, which again shows you just the NFL is messed up in their hiring practices when it comes to coaches and stuff. And hopefully Brian Flores with this lawsuit can affect some change, and maybe something will happen. Okay, and that's my opinion about that. Okay, Tiki Barber have just please, be quiet. Please. Okay, you work for the Giants. I understand you're biased in that way. Okay, and nobody's saying that the Giants are racist or anything else, but their hiring practices are suspicious. Okay, because come on, look at the Giants. I think somebody even said it. I think, and there's a great video. I think if you type in Joy Taylor, talking about the statements from the people that Brian Flores is suing, and where she just breaks it down about how snarky they are and about the history. And I think even Stephen A. Smith talks about it too, about the history of the Giants. Now, the Giants did have a African-American GM when they won those 2 Super Bowls with Eli Manning, but he was put in place by George Young, who used to be the GM there for a long time. Okay, he's the one that hired the guy that come in there to be the GM. Okay, that was nobody that they picked, that they went out and got. Okay, this GM, he was already working for George Young, and George Young tapped him before he retired to be the GM for the Giants. Okay, that was nobody that they went out and got. Okay, or interviewed and hired to be that GM. He was already in-house working under George Young, and George Young said, I want this guy to be, before I retire. He told the Mariners, and to their credit, they did let him be the GM. Okay, Jerry Reese, that's his name. I'm sorry, Jerry Reese, and let him be the GM for their 2 Super Bowls. Okay, and then he retired, and then they, hired these subsequent GMs they've hired. But the Giants don't have a great history of hiring black coaches or having black quarterbacks. So please, okay, I always I love the Giants, but I can give them the side eye, and I can be objective to their history, okay, unlike Tiki Barber. But anyway, let me know what you think about this whole Brian Flores situation. Feel free to leave comments down below. Let me know what you think. I also have links to my social media in the description box, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Also have a link to my other channel, my main channel, Trepacer, in the description box. Check that out as well. Also have a link down below to my patron, and I want to say a special thank you to my patron. His name will appear in this video somewhere. I want to say thank you to him for supporting me and always having my back. And again, my patron's only $5 a month. Tons of content on there. Tons of unedited TV show reactions on there. Okay, The Boys. No, I don't have The Boys in there anymore. I have The Mandalorian Season 2. The Book of Boba Fett Season 1. I have WandaVision, Loki, Hawkeye, What If. I have all Stargirl Season 1, Stargirl Season 2, Doom Patrol Season 3, and Titan Season 3, and all 4 parts of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Follow link to the Patreon, only $5 a month. And again, give this video a thumbs up. It helps the channel, and I truly appreciate it. And again, hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you know when I upload new content. And this is Paul saying so long and take care.